Hello, welcome, welcome. Happy September 1st, lovelies. I hope you have your cups of tea. Make yourselves feel all comfy. So good to see all of you. I see Under the Feathers Charlotte, Lorraine, Carolyn Statzer, Natalie Roseway 1, Ellie May, Emma Rowland. So lovely to see all of you. I want to give all of you shout outs for taking the time out of your schedules and your life to spend an hour with me and some dear friends. Today is the 22nd session, 22nd guys already, of Tea with Karen. I know many of you are back to school, university, college, and it's a different picture for many of you. Attending school perhaps virtually, but please know that I'm cheering each and every one of you on in this new norm, and I have so much faith in you, and I know that you're going to give it your best, and that's all that matters. So I'm cheering you all on. You can catch up with Tea with Karen sessions, the past 21 sessions and today's session as well, on www.teawithkaren.com. Yesterday I did post about the new Tea with Karen challenge, which you have until next Wednesday to submit. It's the reflection challenge, which I hope you guys will like. I think it's so important to look back on these 6 months of navigating our way through this pandemic, and it's so important to give yourselves a good pat on the back for being strong and for loving yourself and having faith each day. So all the details I've posted in my stories, and I hope and I encourage each and every one of you to participate in this challenge. It's a lot of fun, and you can create like a collage again, whatever you like. So details are all in my stories. Now, the past few days I know has been, I'm still having to take deep breaths over the loss of Chadwick Boseman and what his life represented and the legacy that he leaves behind for all of us. I think the one thing that really stood out for me is when Josh Gad so beautifully said about Chadwick, not only as a performer, but as a human being, that he was next level good. And I just love that. And I'm going to steal that from Josh, and you guys should steal it too and spread it like wildfire, that we should all strive to be next level good human beings. Talk about reflection over the last few days. You can have everything in your life. You can have all the material things or not. We can have our dreams and our goals, but we have nothing without our health. And my mum has always told me that since I was a little girl, that health is wealth. Health is everything. And this year has been such a painful reminder about the fragility of life. But I also hope that this year, 2020, is a year of hindsight, is a year of gratitude. Let it be a year of gratitude of what we're really grateful for. And that's the important things in our life. Our health, first and foremost, our family, our friends, the relationships that we've cultivated. That's wealth. And that's what counts the most. So I'm sending each and every one of you a big hug. And I love you. And I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. You guys are such inspiring human beings, truly. And I'm so grateful to have you a part of my journey and a part of this community. So God bless all of you, and keep shining your bright light to not only for yourself, but to all those around you. And on that note, I'm just going to dive right in, and because I'm so excited about today's guest. Today is a very, very special Tea with Karen. I'm so excited to be chatting with the inspiring Faith Broussard Cade, also known as on Instagram, Fleur de Lis Speaks. You can follow her at Fleur de Lis Speaks, at FleurDeLis LISSPEAKS. Now, you guys know that I've, in the past, have reposted Faith's posts. You would have seen these beautifully handwritten affirmations that she writes on her posts on Instagram. And I have shared them countless times on my Instagram stories, and I'm just so thrilled that she has taken the time out to spend an hour with all of us. She is a mental health therapist and speaker, a self-care and wellness advocate. So who better to talk to, especially during these challenging times, than with someone like Faith, who has an incredibly inspiring story. So take your cups of tea. I'm going to bring Faith on.
Hi!
Faith, I am like properly fangirling right now. You
Stop it!
No, I'm fangirling over you. Yes. Thank you.
You are too sweet. Thank you.
No, thank
Oh,
you.
hi, y'all. Everybody.
Yeah.
Hi. Oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed.
Well,
Hi.
you know what? There's so much. I am so excited for my incredibly loving community that I have on here, to get to know you and to celebrate the work you do, your incredibly inspiring story. I mean, I was going through your website, getting to know you more, and I had this big ridiculous grin on my face, thinking, this woman is a superhero, really.
Oh
I
my
was
gosh.
reading, no. Did you ever think that your posts, and first of all, let me fill the gang in here about you. So your ears are going to be burning right now. I love in your bio, from New Iberia, Louisiana, and you said that you survived swamp tours, massive mosquito attacks, and wrestled alligators. So really, this pandemic must be a walk in the park for you.
Well, okay, so I exaggerated that or embellished just a little bit, but people don't understand when you are from like legit swamps, like the bayou of Louisiana. When you're in elementary school, like you go on swamp tours for field trips. Like this is real life. Like other people are going to, I don't know, museums and other things. And yeah, we go on swamp tours. So that is real life. I have never like in person wrestled an alligator, but it's a thing. People can really do it. Yeah. So you could sign up to do that. It's like a tourist attraction if you ever visit.
Really? Well, I don't think that would go so well for me. If I did, I think the alligator would win. I just surrender. But I just love, I think the one thing about when I was visiting not only your Instagram profile, but also your website, is that there is this wonderful energy that just circulates on your page, that leaps off the page. Between your website is like a one-stop shop. It has everything that is so good for the soul, and at the same time is so dangerous for my tummy, because between your peach cobbler, guys, you have to know that Faith is also this incredible baker, and pastry chef and food blogger, and she posts these fantastical home recipes of her peach cobbler to her white chalk dipped snickerdoodles. I'm drooling just at the thought of it. And the taco mac, come on. I was just like, no, this is so dangerous. Like I was just going through these recipes saying, what am I going to be making in between? Guys, you have to go to her website, and I will post you the link to www.fleurdelyspeaks.com. But Faith, I wanted to talk, because I also read, this is what really got me, is that back in January 2018, you were involved in a terrible motor vehicle accident where you sustained a massive concussion and a traumatic brain injury, which changed your life.
Yeah.
And this is how the fruition, though, of Fleur de Lis Speaks happen. Can you tell the gang here more about that?
I absolutely can't. Wait, hold on one second, because I totally meant to do this before I hopped on, but then I was rushing and Bean was asking me for snacks, and I like forgot to put this lip gloss on.
This is all family. Like, put that lip
Okay.
anything. Yeah.
Okay. So, yes, that is true. I started my career as a professional school counselor. So a lot of people don't know that, but we have essentially, they used to be called guidance counselors, but I don't really like that name. So schools have, school counselors, and I went into that profession simply because I felt, and I still feel, that mental health support and mental health care should be accessible and available for everyone. And so I did my graduate school work at Vanderbilt University in Nashville. And whenever I decided to do that program, hold on one second. Bean, Mama's on a call, baby. You got to be quiet. Okay.
I love the singing in the background. That just makes me happy. So.
She's loud, and I think she gets it from her dad's side of the family. But she has no concept of how loud her voice is when she's talking. It's just like, wow. She's like screaming like a banshee. Anyhow, so I thought that mental health care should be available and accessible for everyone. And so when I chose that master's program at Vanderbilt, I had to choose between doing a school counseling track or a community counseling track, which would then put me on, on the trajectory to do a private practice. And I just felt in my soul, like, if we can kind of tackle these vulnerabilities in children early on, right, then maybe they won't need a therapist later on in life. And so I was like, if I'm a school counselor, then kids can come and see me while they're at school for free, right? So this is like an ideal situation. So I went into that, and I had been doing that for a little over 10 years. And then January 9th, 2018 came. I live here in Atlanta. I was commuting to the school that I was working at. It was an elementary school because I love the babies, and I've always done elementary school counseling. And on my way to work, I was sitting at a stoplight. I got hit from behind in a motor vehicle accident by a tractor trailer. And that's just the beginning of a long journey. Some people might say, oh, it was the beginning of the end, but actually, I see it as the beginning of a new beginning for me. I went through several months of not being properly diagnosed, also not being listened to in the healthcare space, feeling like every time I went to an appointment, I had to fight for and advocate for myself to get someone to listen, that like, look, I have a hard time remembering things. Like, my memory is not what it used to be. I'm in chronic pain all the time. I am going 4 to 5 days without sleeping because of the insomnia. Like, light is too bright for me. Sounds are too loud for me. This is not normal. Something is wrong. Now, here's the kicker. Target is my happy place, like it is for most people. It is just a utopia of goodness, right? I would go into Target and, without realizing it, be walking around the store for 2-3 hours and still have an empty cart, and have like Target associates kind of like looking at me, like, you know, we've seen this woman circle around this store for like 4 or 5 times. She has nothing in her cart. What's going on? And it started to affect me going to my happy place, because I stopped going to Target because I could not gather myself together. It was because I was so distracted by the music that's coming over the loudspeakers and the announcements for cleanup in aisle 7 and people talking around me. Like, I could not focus. I had a list of things I needed to buy, but it still did not like center and ground me enough to get what I need to get and walk out. And I said, something is wrong. And I advocated and I fought so much to find different healthcare providers who would actually listen to me. And when they did, they found out that I had a concussion, that I had post-concussive syndrome, and a traumatic brain injury on top of it all. And that is what, I guess, started this whole journey for me. I was a counselor before, but I wasn't really doing that great of a job of taking care of myself, right? I was a mom to a 3-year-old. I was a wife. I had a baking business on the side. So I was working full time as a school counselor and baking for events and catering events on the side and nights and weekends. I wasn't taking care of myself, but I finally was in this space of my life where I had doctors telling me, look, if you do not slow down, if you do not take care of yourself, if you do not stop trying to be everything, you will not recover from this. You will not. Your brain will not heal. You will not get better, and you will live with deficits for the rest of your life. And that was a hard pill to swallow, right? Because as a mom, you have all this mom guilt about, you know, trying to be everything for your kid and trying to prepare the best meals and doing all these things. And it got to a place where I had to choose between these semi-unrealistic expectations that I had placed on myself and my life for the rest of my life, or my health for the rest of my life. And even with like a blank permission slip from doctors telling me to rest, to be okay, to sit and like literally sit on the couch and just watch mindless TV all day, I had the hardest time doing that. I could, like, it was something in me that would not let me rest. And at this time, I had lost my job. I was forced to resign because my medical leave had expired and my neurologist and specialist still had not cleared me to return to work. So I had to resign. And so my family had gone down from 2 incomes to 1. So my attempt to self-care could not include expensive trips and lavish spa treatments and all these things. Like, it had to be something that worked for my family, my lifestyle, our finances. I had to find something that was sustainable for me. And that's when I came up with the idea to do something like a 15-day self-love challenge, where I would write myself a little note on a little piece of paper for 15 days straight and post it on Instagram for accountability. Because I knew that if I like committed to do something on social media and then like missed a half a day of doing it, like the IG thugs would come for me. And I was like, I hate being embarrassed. So I thought, this is like a perfect way to force me to do what I need to do. And I started doing it. And within maybe a week's time, I started getting so much traction and so much engagement and private messages and DMs about, thank you so much for saving my life. I was looking for a sign that that my life was still worth something. And I saw your post as soon as I logged into Instagram, and people who were considering suicide sent me messages like this. People who were trying to walk away from abusive marriages and relationships, people who just needed kind of just a word of encouragement and affirmation that, yeah, things may be tough right now, but this is not the end of my story. Like, my story is just beginning through all of this. I'm creating a new beginning for myself in all of this. And then the 15 days like ended, and I was like, well, hell, I can't stop writing these notes. People are counting on me.
I have been watching your profile grow from the start of this pandemic to where we are now. And it is so wonderful to see the impact that you are having, because you are speaking with authenticity, you're speaking your truth. And I think that transparency is so, in the past, pre-COVID, it was so rare to find that on social media. And I feel like now the times have changed, and now more than ever, it's so important for all of us to not be afraid to speak our truth.
Yeah.
You know, especially with BLM and everything that's happened, it's so important. We cannot go back to what life was before. This is a new norm we're navigating through. And whilst it comes with these challenges, I feel like there is this big shift in the conversations that are happening on social media, which excites me to no end, because I always have mixed feelings about social media. But if we can turn it into something positive and something so good, and just hearing your story, and in that one defining moment where you have the power to choose how you would react and deal with what has happened to you. That is so incredibly inspiring, Faith. And I think, you know, and that is, I'm not surprised at all that a lot of your followers and seeing that grow even more, they're so captivated by your beautiful heart and just your honesty about what you've been going through. It's sort of, like I said, when I go to your website, there's something about it where I feel like I'm at home. I feel like a voice. It's like you represent so many people's voices through your beautiful words. And you feel like everyone's voice is being heard. If I could put it, I'm trying to be eloquent with how to put this, but that's how I felt, you know, just every day when I look at your Instagram profile. I'm like, okay, what's Faith going to post today? Like, it's like I have my cup of tea in the morning and I click on your profile and I'm like, okay. And it's just that important reset button. And I find that when we talk about things that are so personal, often they are quite universal and so many of us can relate to. So I can't thank you enough for all that you do and for sharing your story. Because yes, there are so many people out there who are tuned in now, between your followers, hello, and mine too, that really can take away so much from your examples. And I love that affirmation challenge and holding yourself accountable. It's like, this is a few years ago, I realized, you know, I talk to myself all the time. And that comes a lot, that you too, right? And it comes a lot through, you know, my mom saying that, you know, whatever you want it to be, God, universe, angels, whatever you want it to be, they're listening. There's a greater power beyond comprehension that you can surrender to, and say, okay, guide me to do what I'm supposed to do today. And then I'm human, I'm not perfect, I'll do the best that I can. Whatever is not within my control, I give up and let go onto whatever it is. And so I have these conversations with myself every now and then. And I remember saying to myself, you know, Karen, to make a promise to yourself, to hold yourself accountable, is truly probably one of the most important things we can do for ourselves. To break that promise to ourselves, is beyond even comprehending what that truly means. To break, it's one thing to break a promise to someone else, because that's hard enough. but to do it to yourself
Mm.
is something that I need to take a few deep breaths to just kind of process that,
Mm-hmm. No,
because
I agree.
it does take a lot of courage and humility
Mm-hmm.
and self-love and faith in ourselves too, to openly acknowledge something that needs improvement. And you mentioned
Mm-hmm.
about how, you know, it's so typical for all of us. We're so busy with life that we
Yeah,
often forget about those important things.
absolutely.
um you know,
We do.
you wrote a book. Is the book has a you've written a book, then
I've written two guided journals,
yeah.
and they are essentially like it's like a 90-day journey toward a higher awareness of self-love and self-care. And so they essentially start out with a few pages of like reflections and what is it that you hope to gain at the end of this 90-day process. What are some goals that you have, some areas that you would like to grow in? And then each page has one of my notes at the top, and then a space for reflection, and then at the bottom of the page is a place where you can write your intention for the day, which for me is it's extremely important. And then you go through that 90-day period, and then at the end you reflect again on how have you changed during this 90 days, what kind of self-care practices have you been able to implement over this time? And then if you have not been able to, it gives you a space to create your own self-care routine. And I did that because I'm a lover of journals. I'm a lover of writing in general, obviously. And so I'm kind of that person, you know how like you get a good journal and you totally think you're going to use it all the time, but then you end up not. And then you're wandering through like some other stationery store and you're like, oh, that's a cool journal. I'm gonna get that one. I'm definitely gonna use that one. And then you don't use, and then you just have like mounds and mounds, like you're dripping in journals that you never use. And I have done that so many times, and I've
Yeah.
spent a pretty penny on lots of journals that are still blank or maybe have like 2 pages used in them. So I thought to myself, like, what is it about these journals that kind of makes me quit? Like, why do I quit? Why do I not stay consistent with these? And I realized that it's um, because a lot of times I don't know necessarily where to start. I also have ADHD, so that might be like a bit of a piece of it. But um, sometimes when we're going through this process of like trying to sort through our feelings or our thoughts or whatever, we don't know where to start because it may be this new thing that we're trying out. And sometimes we just need a little bit more guidance in developing that self-care practice. And so that's why I thought a guided journal would be best. Like putting that note at the top, you read it, it may like spark thoughts or feelings in you or whatever the case may be. And then it gives you a starting point to then journal out, just if it's 5 minutes, journal out something that is on your heart or your mind or something it made you think of. And when I have, it's kind of like like conversation starters or something. Once you have something like that, then it makes it a little bit easier for you to engage. You're not intimidated by this big blank page that you don't know where to start. Like, am I doing this right? Am I like writing what other people normally write? Who knows? But it's about you and how you personalize that experience. So yes, I have two, and people tend to really enjoy them once they get them.
Well, I want to order 10 copies to give to my
Oh
followers here.
my gosh.
Yes. So we will get the link and I will post up for everyone, but I do want to get 10 copies and one for
Okay.
myself too, so 11.
Okay.
And I will give away 10 copies to my followers on here because I think this is so wonderful. The book I had was Because You Are Worthy, 90 Days of Transformative Self-Love, a guided journal. And I just love that. I laugh endearingly when you mentioned about the collection of journals because I am a sucker for stationery. It's a proper addiction. Between that and collecting teacups, my husband has staged an intervention because I do love stationery and I love the nostalgia of handwritten notes, which is why the minute I came across your profile, I was like, oh my, first of all, you have beautiful handwriting, I have to say.
Thank you.
And second of all, I just love that whole the stationery and I actually started a journal during this pandemic. And the first thing I wrote, you know, in the beginning, you have to write your name and the date you started it. And I put a disclaimer saying, Karen, I really hope you actually finish this journal and that it doesn't end up in a pile with all your other journals. And I laugh at it, like, honestly, because that's exactly what I have to say that I'm guilty of. And so
I'm glad I'm not the only one. I'm so glad I'm not the only one.
But I'm so excited to try out your 90-day of transformative self-love. I just love the whole idea of that. There is something we did earlier on at the start of this pandemic. I do these Tea with Karen challenges, and I asked the gang on here if they wanted to join me in creating a gratitude jar. And you would write down, what I would do in the past is throughout the year, I would write down things that I was grateful for, or if something wonderful happened, could be big or small, whatever. You even accomplished like clearing out the closet that you never want to tackle. You'd write it down and then you'd put it into your gratitude jar. And then at the end of the year, before a new year began, because it's sort of mixed emotions for me, because I'm grateful for the year that I've had, but then there's a little bit of anxiety of, the start of the new year, what's going to happen, what's to come, unknown. So to ease my nerves, I open that gratitude jar and I start reading. My husband and I start reading about all the things we put to the gratitude jar for the year to remind us of all the wonderful things that have happened and what we should be grateful for. And that immediately changes the energy shift.
It does.
And it kind of then prepares us to look forward to the new birth of a new year. And how grateful we are. Like you said, our health is so important.
It is.
And we talk about, it's such a domino effect, you know, talking about healthcare and the fact that you loved yourself enough during such an incredibly difficult time to push forward, to continue to ask questions, to continue to find the right people that could help you. And I know that you and I both know that there are so many people that are not able to do that. Or are so afraid to do that. And that hurts my heart so much, which is why voting this November is so important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I will be completely transparent and say it was not easy. It was not automatic. I mean, I went through several doctor's appointments where I said how I was feeling and it was dismissed or brushed off or made light of, or, you know, it'll go away, just give it time kind of responses. And I just let it go. I left there feeling completely unseen and unheard. I felt defeated. I felt minimized. And I felt hurt, quite honestly, because I knew that my truth was real. I knew that my experience was real. And I also knew that the longer and longer I went untreated, the harder and harder it would be for me to make a full recovery, which I still have not. I still see a neurologist on a regular basis. I still have to take medication for my memory. I still take medication for other things to heal my brain. I take migraine medications where I have to give myself my own self an injection. And I hate needles. Like, I literally cry every time, but I have to do that. That's all part of self-care.
Mm-hmm.
But it was not easy. It just got to a place where I was fed up. I got to a place where quite frankly, I got angry. And I was like, these people they're brushing me off. They're telling me I'm fine. And I know that I am not fine. And I refuse, I'm at a place now where I refuse to accept this. It's kind of like when you don't have the luxury of playing nice anymore. And I didn't have the luxury of playing nice anymore because I have a daughter who depends on me being well. I have a husband who counts on me to be well. I have a whole community of people that count on me to be well. And I need me to be well. So I'm not going to take this dismissive treatment anymore. You will listen to me, or I will find someone else who will. And I just remember getting to that place and thinking how heartbreaking it is that so many people maybe never get to that place. So many people who have just been kind of taking what they can get for so long, and they don't want to, they don't want to ruffle any feathers. They don't want to cause a conflict. They don't want to feel like they're going to be retaliated against. And so they suffer in silence. And it's heartbreaking to think that people live that way.
I hope for all of you guys who are watching, I know some of you are in similar situations, and I hope that what you're hearing from Faith really inspires you to fight for yourself, to fight for your health, and fight for your life and your well-being, because you have to know that you deserve the best.
Absolutely.
We often are. It's so easy to be dismissive, saying, well, I don't want to, oh, I don't know. We feel we don't deserve it. Very apologetic. And we're always in fear that by asking for something that we need, that might then kind of paint a different picture of who we are as people. That fear. And that took me a long time to learn even.
Absolutely.
But there is so much power in saying no. You can be a kind person and say no. I think that's one of the biggest lessons that I've had to grasp and to learn. And what you've said is so important for all of you, who may have these struggles and these similar challenges, is that you have to know that you deserve better and that your health is everything. That's where it starts, your health. So I want to go back to, before we do the Q&As, because you have a lot of beloved followers as well. Yes, who have sent so many wonderful questions that I want to go through with you. I just love how you said on your site, and I'm going to quote you because I just love it. I set out to do one thing a day and to honor and nourish myself. Nourish myself. I love that so much. By writing a self-care note and posting it on Instagram for accountability. I hope for you guys watching that you guys should take part in this too. I think we should all be posting. I don't know if my writing is going to be as lovely and eloquent as yours, but I feel like we should all be learning from your example. To know that what you've created on social media is just such a force of good. Your website, because let's talk about your baking. because
Oh.
I love baking. I'm not good at it. I try. The effort's there. I watch the Great British Bake Off with complete
Okay.
admiration and jaw on the floor about
Uh-huh.
how amateur bakers can bake like the pros.
Absolutely.
Have you always been a baker?
Um, I have always loved cooking and baking.
Hmm.
It was not until actually no, I did it in college too. I did it in college. Not for hire, but just kind of, I want chocolate chip cookies in the dining halls. Cookies are trash. So
Yes.
I'm going to make my own, it came out of necessity more than anything. And then I I got to a place where, I was always the one being voluntold for, family gatherings and, dinners with friends or birthday parties. Can I bring anything? Oh yeah, you make dessert. Like I always make dessert, y'all. I always make dessert. So it just kind of like was stuck in my head. Okay, well, maybe I should like do this. Maybe there are other people who would want to pay me to bake for them. And it worked really well. I mean, it went very well. I love it. I enjoy it. I started doing it with my daughter. So Bean loves to bake as well. From when she was very young, she helped me. I actually, um, most people don't know that, only my husband, and he thought it was silly. Like when we first got married, or even before we got married, I had started buying and collecting like little kid size cooking utensils and baking utensils, because in my mind I was like, I'm gonna have a kid and they're gonna bake with me. And so I kept them and just collected them. Like every place that we moved, I like had this cute little box that I kept them in. And so once Bean got to a place where she was mobile and like kind of walking and going around, she'd always want to be in the kitchen with me and she'd always want to help me. So we found like a cabinet that was like low enough for her to reach without killing herself, and put the little box in there with her utensils. And it was like clockwork. Every single time she heard me in the kitchen, she would scoot her little chunky self into the kitchen, go straight to her little cabinet, and like pour out all of her utensils all over the floor. And it became a thing that we did together. It became a way for us to be close to each other, to bond, to like to really enhance our relationship. She was my sous chef. Now she did a whole lot more sampling of the things than she actually did helping. So I was always running out of chocolate chips or, powdered sugar. But it was just so fun to have her there with me. And it was something that I really missed once the accident happened, because I literally stopped baking and I stopped cooking, because the first time I tried, shortly after the accident happened, I didn't realize until this point that my memory had been so affected. I started putting ingredients into the bowl and I couldn't remember which ones I had put in or how much of something I had put in. Um, and it was at that moment that I realized I might need to take a little break from this. And there was also some fear involved, right? Fear that I can't do this the way I used to be able to do this. I'm 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 not as good as I was before. What if I make something with the wrong ingredients and it tastes badly, or someone complains about it, or what? There was this huge fear that I'm no longer who I used to be. And not only did I bake, but I cooked all the time, pretty much 5 nights a week. I cooked for my family. I'm from Louisiana. How can I not? Like I love to cook. And so, and I even stopped cooking because I would forget things, but also I was in so much physical pain. It took me astronomically longer to make a simple dish than it did when I pre-accident, because I had to keep sitting down and taking breaks. I couldn't be on my feet very long. My stamina was greatly reduced. And just a little praise for like meal subscription companies like HelloFresh. Like when I discovered HelloFresh at that time, it saved my life. Like my husband had been bringing home takeout for months every day because I couldn't cook. And then I discovered HelloFresh, ordered it, and I distinctly remember the day my first box came, and I'm in the kitchen, like opening this box like it's Christmas morning, right? Oh my gosh, all these fresh ingredients. This is great. And I started like getting pots and pans out, and Bean, like, she heard it from another room in the house and came literally bolting into the kitchen with her eyes this wide and a huge smile on her face, like my mom's back almost. I remember sitting there. Ugh. I remember sitting there with that HelloFresh box on the kitchen counter and her running in and saying, "Mama, are we going to make something today?" And I burst into tears. I'm getting teary-eyed thinking about it right now because it was such a defining moment for me, like giving me part of my life back, but also realizing the effect that what I was experiencing was having on my child. Like she had gotten to a place where she didn't expect to do that with me anymore. She got to a place where maybe she just resolved that, like, that's not a thing that Mama and I do anymore. And having that given back to me, I mean, it blessed me in so many ways. So I don't know if HelloFresh people watch Tea with Karen, but if you do, HelloFresh people, I love you guys.
Happen. Yes, let's make that happen where they should do something. We should reach out. We're all working up here.
I love you guys, HelloFresh, and thank you so much for just giving me something back that I could not have gotten back on my own.
I love, thank you so much for sharing that story. We did, going to the Q&As, there was this, I had one person at OUAT Manifest Fan where she was talking about, she had health issues as well.
Okay.
Which caused her to give up on activities that she loved to do, which is what you were just talking about, and how much joy that brought her. But now that she doesn't have those activities to do, she's struggling to find happiness. What would you advise? This is so tough, especially having been through it yourself.
My advice is to go back home. Go back home. And when I say go back home, I mean in the sense of, we can all remember as children or as, when we were younger, the things that brought us joy. We can remember, loving to run outside in the yard barefoot, or, there was a huge pecan tree in my front yard in southern Louisiana. And I remember us picking those pecans and bringing them inside, and my mama showing us how to crack them and eating pecans off the tree. Or we had a huge magnolia tree in our front yard and how they smelled so lovely. I remember spending time with friends, going to the beach with my family. I remember loving to just be outside. I remember loving to read. All of those things. As we get older and start adulting, right? It's like we automatically go into this self-deprecation, masochistic, I can't do anything that I enjoy because that's not responsible mode, right? Like everything has to be about productivity, efficiency, crossing things off of our to-do list, just getting all the things done. And that is not what life is about. Like life is about growing up in Southern Louisiana and like running it into the sugarcane fields in my granny's backyard and like stealing stalks of sugarcane and running into the house and chewing on them and like getting the sugar out of it. Like life is about not just doing the things that we have to do to get through, to be the responsible person, to provide a living for ourselves. Like, what is the point of doing all those things if we're doing them with a sense of bitterness or resentment or flat out just plain obligation, or doing them because we don't have any other choice? What about living a life that also embodies some of the things that we love and enjoy, the things that fill us up and pour back into us, the things that are life-giving for us, the things that, the things that we think back on with happiness and fondness and smile and just we feel giddy like a kid again? What about incorporating some of those things into our adult lives? Now, of course, we have responsibilities, and of course, we have all these kids that like need things all the time, right? And spouses and other things. We have responsibilities. But what I have learned throughout this whole process is how important it is to save some of me for me. Save some of you for you, because when we do that, then we're giving to others out of our overflow and not our deficit. That we're able to love others more completely because we have enjoyed something of our own, that we filled ourselves up, that we feel joyful and grateful and happy. And we can be in a better space when we're around other people. So I would say, honestly, figure out what some of those things are and slowly incorporate some of those things back into your life. I always advocate for people to kind of create their own self-care toolkit. And I mean like a legitimate toolkit. Like I have this cute little canvas basket that I have like adult coloring books and colored pencils and a good book that I'm in the middle of, and my favorite candle, which my favorite candle, by the way, is the Capri Blue candle that smells like Jesus and heaven and rainbows. I love that candle. It's always in there, and I try to reserve it for those like special times if I don't want it to run out. Maybe like your favorite like chocolate covered almonds or whatever the case may be, like something that you enjoy, put it in that basket. And that way, when you do get 30 minutes to yourself to do something you want to do, you don't spend that time Googling self-care activities on the internet, and then your time's gone, and then you don't have time to spend on yourself, right? Like, have it there readily available, kind of like a first aid kit, right? Mm-hmm. Have it there so that I've got 30 minutes to myself. I'm going to lock myself in my bedroom, and I'm going to go to my kit and pull out something that I want to do. So do what makes you happy.
Yeah, I love that. That has to be a new Tea with Karen challenge. Faith self toolkit. We're gonna do that in Toronto because that's such a brilliant idea. I love that so much. Mm-hmm. And I know which candle you're talking about too. From Broussard, I think. Oh, it's so brilliant, and I love it. I've got the same candle, and it makes me happy. I love it. I love it. That's such a brilliant idea, and we will do that in your honor for sure.
Oh, thank you.
At Emma Esperker, she asks, what do you think are the best methods to find inner peace?
Wow. The best methods to find inner peace. I can speak for myself. When I get quiet and I eliminate distractions and I eliminate noise, and I get quiet in the sense of quieting my mind, because my mind does run away with itself a lot, quieting my mind, slowing down my heartbeat, taking some deep breaths, and really focusing on what it is that I think of when I think of peace. So for me, when I think of peace, I think of slowness. I think of contentment. I think of feeling fulfilled. I think of gratitude. I think of being in a space where no matter what is going on around me, right? Even though there may be a storm going on around me, that there is not a storm going on inside of me. That in the midst of whatever it is, that I can have peace of mind and my soul is at peace. In order to do that, though, I have to set boundaries. So for me, setting the proper boundaries to give myself the space and the time that I need to focus on being peaceful is key. Boundaries mean saying no to things that don't necessarily serve me, that don't bring me peace, things that bring me some sort of toxic inner conflict, things that make me feel guilty, things that make me feel not well. I try to eliminate those things and say no to those things as much as possible so that I can get into a quiet place. Inner peace for me means listening to meditations a lot of times, like guided meditations, and there's tons of really good apps for that. It also means a lot of times listening to calming music. I'm a huge classical music fan, and so, and I always have been, so I could literally put on a classical music station and just zone out. Inner peace for me also comes with writing. A lot of times we don't realize that we don't have inner peace because our minds aren't at peace, and our mind is so powerful in controlling so many aspects of our lives. So I have to a lot of times dispose of all the things in my mind in order to get a quiet moment of peace. I call it doing like a brain dump almost. So I get with this notepad and I just write out. And believe me, at this time, my handwriting is not very nice, but I just like writing out everything, anything that comes to my mind. It could be total gibberish, whatever it is, writing it down, getting it out of my head, and then getting into a quiet place, listening to my music, doing my meditations, reading, praying, talking to God. A lot of times I even write down my prayers. And for me, that is so peace giving because it really allows me to see the needs of my heart and my soul on paper. It's a life transforming thing to be able to do that. So yes, I would say those are the things that I do for inner peace. Um, and one other thing is understanding that you getting your inner peace may make some folks upset, and they're just going to have to be upset. That's part of the boundaries piece, right? Of um, me achieving inner peace may mean that I have to set boundaries with people who disturb that peace, and they may not be happy with me. But there's always going to be someone who's unhappy with you. You could be drinking your water and minding your business, and somebody will have an issue with the brand of water you choose to drink. Like you will never be without someone who can find fault with something that you do. That's their issue, and more a symptom of their own lack of inner peace, right? Than it is for you. Like a lot of times I'll just be like, I look at comments on different posts and things, and the way people can sometimes be so cruel and hard-hearted and just nasty. And I think to myself, like, do these people not have any business to deal? Like, do we need to get them some business so that they can stay out of someone else's business? Because I am busy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I have no time or desire to put myself in a space to be critiquing or criticizing what someone else is doing. That's not my place. And when I try to take that on as my responsibility, it says a lot about me and who I am versus who I want to be.
Yes. And I feel like now, especially with cyber trolling, it's so easy for people to do that behind the comforts and safety of their phones or on the computer and whatnot. But I always remember what my mama always told me since I was a little girl. She said, Karen, there's going to be many people out there who won't understand you, who won't
Absolutely.
get you. She said, not everyone's going to love you, and that's okay.
And it is okay.
It's okay.
Perfectly okay.
Yeah.
It's because, I mean, and everyone's not gonna, not everyone's gonna like you. But truth be told, I don't like everybody. Like, you don't like everybody. No one likes everybody, and that is the unpopular opinion. But I'm just going to say it and keep it real. Not everyone likes everyone. I don't necessarily like everyone. However, I am always respectful. I will always be respectful to everyone. I will always treat everyone with love and compassion and empathy. So that's like the basic minimum requirements, right? Treat people with love, empathy, understanding. And that's it. Like, you'll be okay. And you can love someone and respect them and disagree with them.
Mm-hmm.
That is normal, and that's okay. And they will be fine, and you will be fine, and the world will not end.
Yeah.
We'll be fine.
Yeah. That can also be said true of marriage too.
Absolutely.
I love my husband. Sometimes there's going to be moments where you agree to disagree.
Absolutely.
You know, and but does that make him a bad person? No, of course not. Does that make me a bad? No. But there are going to be moments where you just have to accept each other's differences on some certain things.
Right.
So, gosh, I can't believe how quickly the hour's gone by because I feel like I could talk to you forever. What's next for you?
Oh, goodness. What is next for me? Well, I am always doing private sessions. So I do mental health coaching, one-on-one sessions with people. I was really trying to keep my caseload small, and it just seems as though during this time in our lives and just the state of the world right now, that so many more people need it than normal. And so more people are reaching out, and a lot of times I have a hard time saying no. So my caseload has grown quite a bit, but I'm always doing one-on-one sessions. And I also am right now in the process of doing a lot of brand collaborations. So that's to be expected. I do, however, just have to give a disclaimer that anytime I do a brand collaboration, it has to be something that aligns with who I am and what I do and what I believe in. You're never gonna see me you're never gonna see me like selling like, you know, weight loss pills or something like, you know, like it's
Yeah.
always going to be something that I feel that is beneficial to the people that I serve and the people that I feel like trust me. They trust my opinion. They value my opinion. They trust what I'm saying, and I never ever ever want to betray that trust by doing something that is not authentic. So I'm doing a lot of that and in the process of negotiating a lot of that. Somebody, Carolyn says like, "Hello Fresh." Huh?
Yes, yes.
Well,
That's what I
I
was going to say. That's
currently,
next.
I do not currently have a collaboration with HelloFresh, but I would
That will
be,
all change.
I would be honored. I also, someone, um, had mentioned me doing some things, maybe creating more products with my quotes on them, my notes on them, branding type things. So I'm working on adding a lot more of those type things to my shop on my website, which people can visit. Um, and really just trying to be um, really just trying to be the best person that I can be and growing. Um, Growth is always what's next for me because never in a million years when I wrote that first note would I ever have imagined that it would have grown to like 102,000 friends, you know,
And growing.
and growing and people like Viola Davis and Shonda Rhimes, who I absolutely adore and admire, reposting my content. So think, I believe that growth is always on the horizon for me. I don't always know what it's going to look like. I don't always know where the path is going to lead me, but I do always trust and believe that if I stay true to who I am and authentic with the people that I serve, then the opportunities that come will be opportunities that are in alignment with my truth and with my purpose. And I believe that there's even so much bigger there's so much bigger things out there for me.
And your example, especially of what you've been through, the challenges,
Mm-hmm.
adversity, uh, just goes to show how you've handled it with such grace and dignity, which is so incredibly inspiring. I, you are a real superhero in the sense, you know, right from your journey of being a counselor at elementary school, and I play a counselor on legacies,
Really?
and that is such an honor to do that.
It
But to
is.
be able to sort of witness your journey and understand everything that you've been through, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
this is who Emma from Legacies aspires to be. uh, and you are a superhero, and your daughter, gosh, to have such a strong, incredible mother like you,
Mm.
um, you know, to set and shape her future with such strength and humility, and wow, you're just a wonderful, you're next level good.
Oh, thank
And
you so much,
I
Karen.
can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your day to spend with all of us here. So tell us where people can follow you again and your website link.
Okay, of course. So my Instagram handle is at Fleur de Lis Speaks. And then you can also find my website at www.fleurdelisspeaks.com.
Great. Yay. Oh my gosh,
Thank you
Faith.
guys so much. Oh, your followers are the best. They're so sweet and kind. I love y'all. I really do. I love you so much.
They love
Thank
you.
you.
I can see that you're gonna get a whole whack of more followers too from my community. I'm very blessed. I'm very lucky to have such a lovely community like yours
Yeah.
who continue to just they want to witness and be a part of my journey. They take time out of
Mhm.
their lives to cheer me
Yeah.
on, to elevate me and lift me up. And I just feel like, my gosh, that is truly such an amazing
It's an
blessing.
honor. I
It's an
really,
honor to have,
really do
which,
feel it's an
yeah,
honor.
yeah, which I don't take lightly. And I feel
Right.
like if we can be the voice of good and
Hmm.
set good examples and spread joy and love and compassion and empathy, because that should be the pandemic really that we're spreading.
Hmm. Hmm.
Then I'm so honored that I've been able to have this opportunity to do that through the work that we do. So, but
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank
I've
you.
loved every minute. I'm
Me
going to
too.
walk away from this with a ginormous grin on my face. Will you, in the future, when you have a free moment, can we do like a bake-off fundraiser on here? And we can bake one of your, well, we can try to bake one of your favorite baking dishes from your recipes,
Absolutely.
and hope that it turns out as immaculately beautiful as yours. But we would love to do that with you. That would be so much fun in the future.
I would love to. Absolutely.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
I'd be
And just
happy to.
know that each and every one of us are cheering you on and send you so much love and good energy your way. And just thank you for such a
Thank you
wonderful
so
afternoon.
much, Karen. I'm so grateful for you.
Have a
Um,
lovely day.
you too. Bye, y'all.
Bye, guys. Bye.